Features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome to Dawn in the African Bush and a very happy new year. We're right on fresh leopard tracks. This is Safari Live.
Confirm you're going live.
No way! The big male baboon's chasing her. Remember, you are watching this live.
What did you see? We gotta be quite careful with these guys.
Unfortunately, I think this is the end.
You have your fire!
Look at the nose!
There's a herd of zebra.
This is the most epic thing in the world, ever.
Good morning, and welcome to Africa, where dawn has just broken, a slightly cloudy dawn which brings with it perhaps the chance of that great African blessing, rain. It's 75 degrees Fahrenheit, I nearly said Celsius, thankfully not Celsius, and you are on a live safari. And over the course of the next 8 weeks, we're going to take you on a journey of discovery through one of the world's great wilderness areas. My name is James Henry, and we're going to be talking to you here from the world's most beautiful office, that is the safari tent. Now, before I tell you more about what's going to happen in the next 2 hours, let me just tell you that you are very, very important to what we do here. You must talk to us, send us your questions, send us your comments. Hashtag Safari Live is how you get hold of us on Twitter. There is no other way. Do not send a carrier pigeon, please. Now, let's have a slightly closer look at where we are in the world. Now, we're in the northeast corner of South Africa, the world's most beautiful country, and on there, the western fringes of the Great Kruger National Park, where I'm sure many of you wish you were living like we are ourselves. Out in the bush, you've already met Brent Leo Smith, slightly feral fellow. He's going to be looking for some leopards today. Jamie Patterson, who on the other end of the scale, elegant and poised, is looking for lions this morning. And then, somewhere between Conan the Barbarian and Jean-Claude Van Damme, Stefan Winterboer is knocking about in his size 11s on foot. Yes, that's what I said, on foot. Let's head straight across to Jamie Patterson so she can tell you about the Nkuhuma pride that she is tracking.
And welcome to the bright and beautiful expanse of a pristine African wilderness. My name is Jamie, and this morning VM is on camera with me. And as James has told you, we are on the search for my favorite pride of lions, the Nkuhuma pride. 5 lionesses, 6 cubs, and hopefully, fingers crossed, one of the dominant males in this area. So we've come through to one of their absolute favorite spots, the Buffels Hook Waterhole, just to see whether or not perhaps they've come down during the course of the night to have a drink. No sign of them here, all is quiet, and so the search continues for these lions. Where have they disappeared to? I think we're going to go and search some of their other favorite spots. Now, yesterday when we saw them, they were looking particularly hungry, and I have no doubt that last night was cool, it was cloudy. I have no doubt that last night they were searching for something to eat. So while we go and find out whether or not they have been successful, let's head over to Stef, who is out on foot helping everybody look for exciting things.
Hello and welcome to the bushwalk part of this fantastic safari adventure that you've just embarked on. As Jamie just said, my name is Stef Winterboer, and we are on foot in exactly the same place that Brent and Jamie are driving around here in the world famous and totally wild Kruger National Park. That is where we are at the moment. We are, as you can see, out in the open, and you might be asking yourself, what on earth are you doing? Now, to be quite honest with you, walking around in Africa is one of the best ways to explore the bush around us and to get in underneath the bushes, help track the animals that they're looking for. I hear Jamie's hot on the trail of some lions this morning. I must be honest with you, it's one of those super exciting things, is to wake up in the morning like we have, early, come out in the dawn and sort of let the day unfold and let this adventure unfold. And to share it with you live is one of those super great things. And that's what we're hoping to do today, is sort of share with you this unfolding story. I don't know what we're going to see. I'm I'm pretty much as live as what you are at the moment. What I'm seeing, a couple of seconds later, you seeing all over the world. Isn't that fantastic? Now, I've got a question for you, and it has to do with lion, mainly because we're looking for some lion for you this morning. If you're walking around in the bush here with me, as you can see, lots of low bushes, lots of hidey places, and you were to encounter a lion, what would be your reaction? A, would you turn around and run away? B, would you stare at that cat nice and hard? Or C, would you climb up the tallest tree that you possibly can? I am interactive, of course. You're welcome to send through any questions, any comments, any of your comments on those particular three options. Send it through to the hashtag Safari Live using Twitter, and we will discuss it as the show goes on. But without further ado, I've spied something here in the distance. Come and have a look at this. Very recently, there was a massive drought here. In actual fact, one of the driest times in the last recorded 110 years. And this was one of the casualties of that. It's a buffalo. And from the looks of things, it looks to be a female buffalo. I can tell that because of the horns here, they're not as robust as a male buffalo horn would be. And I'm guessing that it's come to the drought because the carcass is relatively intact. When lions feed, they pull the carcass apart. They're quite scrappy when they feed. And of course, this is an intact carcass. Now, I hear that there is a little bit of picture breakup. We are coming to you live from the middle of the African bush, and so from time to time, these little gremlins do come into the screen. I'm sure you'll forgive us for that one. But come and have a look here. This big patch of grass is the tummy contents. This would have been one of the last meals that the buffalo had. And as you can see, almost in exactly the same place as it was when this buffalo fell down here. Quite tragic. I would say that out of all the animals out here, buffalo were the ones hardest hit by this particular drought, or at least were the ones that we saw were hardest hit by this particular drought. So much so that the predators here were overwhelmed. From vultures to hyena to lion, there literally wasn't really enough. Well, there was too much food, an overabundance of food, and they couldn't really get to all the carcasses. And that is exactly what I think has happened here. Quite sad to see, but anyway, it is one of those things. I suppose Mother Nature has her checks and balances, and this year it just happened to be buffalo. All right, but why don't we go and see what Brent's up to?
Welcome, and you are joining me doing one of my most favorite things in the world, which is tracking big cats on foot. Oh, from a vehicle at the moment, but as you saw, we saw those beautiful leopard tracks earlier, and they were heading in this area. They were really fresh, so they're within the last couple of hours. We've got our tracking team in the area also giving us a hand, and my name is Brent Leo Smith. I have my very good friend Brian Joubert, and his thumb is wearing a leopard print tie today. Hopefully it is boding well for us finding some leopards. And welcome to the killer bees. And hopefully the killer bees like to show you killer sightings, so we're going to find some absolutely incredible wildlife for you today. Now, for the next 8 weeks, we're going to be following the lives of not only the lions and leopards, but the elephants, the impalas, and just watching how the bush changes during this incredible emerald season which happens during the rains. Now, one of the most important things to do is just to sit quietly and listen every now and then. And there's different sounds that can give away the presence of a leopard or a lion. The snort of an impala, or the bark of a kudu. So we're hoping to hear any of those different sounds. I'm pretty confident that these leopards are somewhere within about a mile of us, and hopefully in the not too distant future we're going to find them. So we're going to keep moving. We're going to keep checking very slowly. We're making sure we don't see footprints crossing a road. We're going to be using our ears to listen for alarm calls, and fingers crossed that this morning's safari, and obviously it's evening for you, is going to be a fantastic one. So let's keep going. Now, while we keep checking, let's go back to the highly entertaining James Henry in his most magnificent bush office.
Most magnificent bush office indeed, but it is not only the office that we have in here. We have a number of interesting pieces of technology, one of which is the microscope. And under the microscope, everybody, is a mystery. Your first question of our morning and your evening: what do you think that is? #SafariLive. Send us through your answers. It's a one-word answer. Well, if you're really clever, I suppose you could give us the entirely specific name and tell us what you think this is lurking underneath the microscope. I will reveal it a little bit later. Now, I'm just going to keep it hidden from you in case you try and cheat, and you will win, of course. My undying adulation. That is your prize for guessing what's under the microscope. Now, Stef was talking about the drought. He was talking about the worst drought in more than 100 years. Of course, every time there's a drought, people say things like that, but it really was a pretty bad one. Let's take to the air and show you the landscape now. It doesn't look very droughttish, does it? It looks pretty green and pretty beautiful, and that cloud, as I said earlier on, may give us Africa's greatest blessing a bit later, that of course being rain. But it has been a tremendously dry season. So we're going to show you a little bit of a clip of the struggles that animals like that buffalo went through. Have a look at this. Last summer was the hottest and driest in 110 years. Life became increasingly difficult for water-dependent species.
This poor hippo desperately pushing himself into the mud. A desperate situation for many of the aquatic animals as they struggle for survival in these dry times.
Less than a third of the average rainfall fell, making it difficult for the hunted and the hunters. Conflict over nature's most precious resource became intense. While forage in the woodland wilted, the animals struggled to find sustenance. The African sun baked the land. The scavengers, however, took full advantage. Until the next life-giving drops fall from the bleached sky, the air will remain choked with dust as the herds search for water and nourishment.
Now, you are back and live with us here in the Kruger Park, and isn't it just fantastic to see how dry it was and how Mother Nature repairs herself? But because of the wet season and because of the grass, we've got a bit of a battle going on in front of us over here. There are two Speaks hinge-backed tortoises having a full-on war with each other in front of us, or between me and you. They are one of two tortoises, the land tortoises that we find over here. This is the smaller of the two, and these are two males that are battling with one another. And what they're trying to do is turn an opponent or turn the other onto its back. Look at that. Ooh, almost got it. They've got these two basically protrusions from their bottom shell just underneath their head, and they use them as a lever to try and lever the opponent upside down, and that would end the fight. Ooh, I think the one on your right is the one that looks a bit bigger, but he obviously isn't as aggressive as the other one. Now, mating rights are exclusive. A female tortoise will only come into season once a year. And these tortoises are battling because I presume there'd be a female in the area. I haven't found her, but she will be somewhere here. The victor, of course, claiming mating rights for the year. Her eggs will get fertile. Ooh, almost. Come on. These tortoises can literally battle for hours. The energy required is just absolutely insane. Only ending when one either gives up or is turned on its back. Now what you can see is a bit of posturing there. The one on the left hand side is head up, and from what I can see, sort of mouth open. I don't want to get too close, and the reason for that is that these are wild tortoises. They don't see people. I mean, there's a very good chance that these tortoises have never seen people in their life before. and I don't want to chase them. Now, chap, you wanted to know if I've ever found any leopard tortoises. Chap, yes, absolutely. There are a lot of leopard tortoises over here. I would say that they're probably a little bit more common even than these Speke's hingeback tortoises, to be quite honest with you. They're the largest tortoise we find here. Big tortoise, probably about as big as a football. They get about as big as a football and a lot more rounded than these flattish hinged tortoises. There we go, 1 is 1. And would you believe it? Look at that. Trying to get away before he gets turned over. That's amazing. The one that I thought was going to win didn't. And there you watch. That is exactly what happens when one tortoise gives up. Now, the victor will press his advantage, but I see he's actually hasn't. All right. And that's that from his epic leopard battle in the Kruger National Park. But Brent has got an epic surprise for you. Enjoy.
Look at this! Isn't this absolutely amazing? We've been tracking leopards. I wish I could take the credit, but our tracking team has found one of the stars of Safari Live. He is tomorrow he will be 11 months old. His name is Hosana, the little prince, and he belongs to Karula, who's our dominant female. Now, there's a good chance his sister could be very close by, or even his mother. So isn't this absolutely exciting? We love it when a plan comes together. Now, these guys are probably some of my favorite leopards in the whole world. I found these guys when they were this big. They were mere hours old, and for the last year I've watched them grow into these incredible young cats. And the best thing about a cat at this age is they're incredibly playful. So they jump up and down and roll around. And now it is New Year's Day in America, but today in South Africa it is the 2nd of January, so it is actually their birthday today. They are 11 months old today. Well, in leopard years we count months as birthdays, as well as the years, of course. But he is a magnificent young male. Now, at this age, they do spend quite a bit of time away from their mother. Their mother will be out hunting. Oh, there's another leopard right here. His sister is right here. There we go. We've got two. We've got both the little cubs. Oh, isn't this absolutely exciting? Oh my goodness, that is little Xongile. Her name means the exquisitely beautiful one. Now this, I'm just speechless. I couldn't have imagined this morning going better. Remember, if you want to ask questions about these incredible cats, use the hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. Okay, we're just going to move forward a little bit so we can get a better view. Now you'll see how these cats are completely relaxed around our presence, and they have grown up with safari vehicles. So as I said, about exactly 11 months ago, I saw their mother acting a bit strangely. We knew she was heavily pregnant, and we watched her go into a little cave, and then we went there the next morning, and these little guys could not even move. They could barely crawl around. Their eyes were closed. They were probably about 6 inches long. Now, Jay's daughters would like to know, how does it feel when I spot a big cat? Well, for me, it is one of my most favorite things to do in the world. Oh, look, she's stalking her brother. And I just get really, really excited. Oh, now this is the wonderful thing about young leopards. They are so playful, and a lot of the stalking and jumping is practice for when they're big. So you don't actually have to teach a big cat to hunt, but practice makes perfect. And while their mother's out hunting for food for them, all this different interaction that they do with each other is practice for when they have to be alone. Now, we're going to disappear for a quick break, but while we do that, we're going to sit right here with these leopards. I'm so excited. Oh, quickly, Brian, she's about to jump, but we've got a few more seconds to wait. But they're going to be jumping up and down, playing all around this morning. It's a lovely, cool morning out here in the African bush, so I'm sure there's going to be lots of action with these little cubs. So come back, don't go anywhere, stay with us. Wow, what a great way to start the morning with Xongile and Hosana. Brian, that leopard print thumb of yours must have made some magic. Or the leopard print tie, at least. Let's just get around a bit. Hello, little guys. Oh, there's a big hole. How's that, Brian? Well, it looks like Hosana and Xongile want to be TV stars. Look at him. Oh, I do love leopards at this age. Now, it's quite a smelly bush he's lying in. It's a bushman's grape. What's he spotted? Is Mom on the way back? Nope. Or could be. You never know what's going to happen out here. Now she seems to be considering the pounce. Waiting for the correct moment. Now, of course, we really love the fact that all of you who might not be in the USA are able to join us, as you do every day. And what a way to start with Hosana and Xongile. It was quite humid this morning, quite muggy actually. And when we woke up, because we woke up a little bit earlier than normal today, the stars were out. It was an absolutely gorgeous African evening. But the clouds rolled in pretty quickly, but they're quite high. So maybe they'll break up as this safari continues. Okay, well, we're going to sit here waiting to see what Xongile and Hosana get up to next. Let's go back to Commander Bond in the tent.
Great strain, of course, being on television this early in the morning. Good morning again, everybody, and those are loyal viewers watching on the internet. Thank you for bearing with us at this time. We're about to go back to television. Of course, I am just being theatrical, because you can't be too theatrical when people have just met you on TV. Otherwise, they think you're a little bit mad. Yes. All right. How long have we got, Kirsten? 1 minute and 5 seconds. Right. Well, let's have a quick look at this blister beetle. Blister beetle. Yes, Kirsten, I have the name of the people who got the quiz. None of them got it right, which makes me very happy indeed. There we are. Oh, dear, sorry. David, I better clean my nail quickly. That's disgusting before we go back to television. Can't have dirty nails on television. And I must thank you all for bearing with us the way you do. I know it's been a little bit rough with some of our rehearsals, but thank you for it. And it's, of course, this is why we do what we do, to bring the wilderness to as many people as possible. I keep getting in trouble for my cap being in the wrong one. 20 seconds, good grief. 15 seconds, everybody, here we go. David, are you ready?
I'm ready, Joe.
I do feel terrified and nervous. 10 seconds. Welcome back, everybody, to your live safari from the western fringes of the Great Kruger National Park. My name is James Hendry. David is on camera. I haven't introduced you to him before. Brent is with those wonderful leopards. Jamie's looking for lions, and Stef is knocking about with some tortoises. Now, we did have, of course, some answers to my very amazing quiz, and I'm afraid no one has won my undying adulation. We'll take one more look under the microscope. There he is. And then I'm going to pull him out and show you what we've been looking at here. Here we go. This, everyone, is a longhorn beetle. There we are. It is so named for its long horns. So, C. Doyle, you said it was a scorpion. It is not a scorpion, I'm afraid. Jordan, you said a fly. Lindsay, you said a bee. Leslie, a baboon spider. And Foxy Lady 307 said it was a killer bee. No, they are on the vehicle with the leopards. Thank you, Foxy Lady, for that. Now, that is what it was, and we're going to release it to the wild to be eaten by a bird because it is now, in fact, quite dead. And it is now in my pants. Never mind. Now, Ilana, aged 13, you wanted to know what my very favourite skull in the tent is. It's this one. It is a female leopard skull. We don't know where this female leopard came from, happily, because we get so attached to these creatures. Now, the reason we get so attached to these creatures, of course, is because we spend so much time with them. And we have a wonderful little history of these leopards to show you. So take a look at this clip now. 3 magnificent leopards call our piece of wilderness home. Karula, Tingana, and Shadow. One of our favourite characters is Karula. She is a 12-year-old leopardess who defines success as a mother and as a huntress. Karula has raised 8 cubs to independence and, in February 2016, gave birth to another litter.
Guys, Kudu has brought her cubs to Djuma. We've been tracking her. Look at the little guy. We just came around the corner. We're just going to keep very still. Isn't this amazing? Oh my goodness, isn't this exciting?
It has been a privilege and a joy to watch these 2 little cubs go from helpless furballs to perfect adolescent leopards. Their father, Tingana, is a 9-year-old male. This imposing prince of cats is the dominant male leopard of our area and the father of Karula's new cubs. Shadow, at 9 years old, is Karula's oldest daughter, and her story is far more tragedy than it is triumph. Unlike her mother, Shadow has yet to raise a cub to independence. There could be many reasons for this, ranging from hormonal imbalances to just plain bad luck. Her latest cub, a little female, was born in March 2016. We met this young leopard only twice before Shadow was seen mating again with Tingana. It is almost certain, therefore, that the new cub is dead.
Welcome back to the middle of the African bush. We're on a live African safari and we're sitting next to 2 11-month-old leopard cubs of our queen. Now, I say it's our queen because on Djuma, where we are right now, she is the dominant female leopard and she's possibly one of the most successful mothers I've ever come across in the African bush. And she's done a splendid job managing to get these 2 cubs to this age, even though she's had a few iffy spots along the way. Now, actually not very far from where we're sitting right now, she had a kill in a tree, but the cubs were playing around on the ground and a pack of African wild dogs nearly caught the young male cub. The young female cub was quick up a tree, but there we go, young Hosana was a bit slow. So it's quite a dangerous place to be a young predator out here in the African bush. And only about 30% of all leopard cubs that are born survive to adulthood. Now, as I said, I mentioned that Karula, the mother, is such a good mother that she's actually raised 5 or 6 litters to adulthood, which is nearly unheard of in the African bush. Now, Abigail, who's 13 years old, would like to know, how long do leopards live for? Well, in the African bush, Abigail, out in the wild, a female leopard will generally live to between 12 and 15 years old, and a male leopard normally between, sometimes even 11 to 14 years old. The oldest ever recorded male leopard in the wild was actually in the Sabi Sands, and it was named Camp Pan, and he lived to 16. The longest lived female leopard ever recorded in the wild was also in this area, and she lived till 19, which is very, very unusual. Normally they don't make it very far beyond 15 years old in the wild. Now, they don't normally die of old age. They're normally actually killed by other predators, quite often lions or even other leopards that want to take over their territory. Now we can see why she is named the exquisitely beautiful one. She's such a beautiful little petite leopard, and she probably only weighs around 50 or 60 pounds at the moment, and will only really weigh about 100 pounds when she's fully grown. But her brother, on the other hand, will probably reach up to 180 to 200 pounds when he's fully grown. Now, leopards have two very distinct dispersals when it comes to males and females, and when I mean dispersals, when they're grown up and it's time to leave home. Oh, big yawn, little man. Now, he'll have the harder time of the two. He's got to move quite often up to 50, 60, 100 miles away from where he was born. Now, his dad will probably chase him out of the area to make sure he doesn't end up mating with his sister or any other possible relatives of his, so his half-sisters, or even with his mother. So having to often travel much, much further away from home, they generally stay with mom a lot longer. So little males will stay with their mom to about 2 years, to sometimes even 2.5 years old. Oh, he's up. And what are you up to next? Now, there could be some gamemanship. What are you doing? He's just playing with a stalk of grass. As I said, that's the wonderful thing about leopards of this age. They are just full of nonsense. They're still kittens, or adolescents, really. Now, so he will wait till he's about 2.5 years of age before he has to make it out on his own. Even though he's capable of killing things at this age, mostly small things. Oh, here we go. Are you going to go jump on your sister? Or at least harass her. Oh, look at that. Cleaning his claws. Now, you would have seen your cats do that at home, but those claws are a little bit more impressive. Hello, sister. Swat, swat, swat. And you can see the size difference between them, even though they're the exact same age. Now we see this incredible bond they have, and they're so playful with each other. But again, in a few short months, that'll disappear. Isn't this just too special? Now remember, this is 100% live. You are seeing these incredible leopards playing with each other at the exact same time as us. Swat. There you go. Every time she lies down, he goes for the underbelly. Hello, Sean. Sean wants to know, how much trouble can the leopard cubs get into? Now, Sean, they can get into lots of trouble. And as I said, I've seen them nearly get caught by wild dogs. And James has seen them nearly get caught by a big male baboon. And so it is a dangerous life out here. And quite often they can get into trouble with lions, hyenas, even a big warthog. Oh, there we go. Oh, this is just too magic. And it's for moments like this that we get up at 3:30 in the morning, and we've got to be out in those early times. That's when these predators are most active. They're on the move. Now, we never know what's going to happen. Mom might come back. She might have made a kill. She might lead them back to the kill, so she's left them here. So we're not going to move an inch, but we're going to go to that very brave man in his size 11s stomping about on foot, Stef Winterboer.
Isn't that the most exciting thing, watching those leopard cub? Just absolutely fantastic. And I must be honest with you, this morning is proving to be just as exciting from the bushwalk part of this particular safari, and that's because we are hot on the tracks of a herd of buffalo. What has been coming through here now, as you can see, this small gap has been a herd of probably about 20 buffalo. Now, you can see how the bush has been churned up. You can see the discoloration of the soil as the buffalo's hooves kicked up the soil, flattening the grass, coming through here at speed. One even managed to defecate a little bit on the way here, on the way past, and they've definitely been chased by something. Buffalo at nighttime do not run unless they have to, and in this particular case, something has been chasing it. And the only things to chase buffalo at nighttime are lion, and I cannot wait to unfold the story with you, because from what it looks like to me is we've got some lion or a single lion that is hot on the path of these buffalo and is chasing them down. Now, Go Green, you've given us some answers as to what we would do, or what you would do if you encountered a lion on foot over here, and you said of all the options I gave you, which was 1, run away, 2, stand and stare at the lion in the face, or 3, climb a tree, which I think most people would want to do. You chose the latter one, so don't feel lonely out there. If anyone else and Go Green said climbing a tree, it was probably one of my first options as well before I became a field guide. But the real answer, of course, is you stare a lion in the face. So you stare a lion in the eyes, you get into the open, you don't hide, you watch that cat the whole time, and you try very, very slowly to make space between you and that lion. So if we were to encounter a lion in the bush, obviously hoping that they are following this buffalo, you stare that lion in the face and then you create distance. That's what you do to save yourself from a lion out here in the bush. But I cannot wait to see what else is happening with these tracks. So let me see if I can show you what we're talking about with this. Now, these tracks are coming into this open area on top of this crest. When lion are hunting buffalo, they like to separate a buffalo from the herd. So buffalo would like to go to open areas like they've got in front of here. They then corral, and then they can fight off any attack from any quarter. Thick bush, that's dangerous for buffalo. It's going to be interesting to see what happens as we track these buffalo further on. But Jamie's got a kudu. We're going to carry on over here. We'll catch up with you in a little bit with some more news.
This is definitely an animal that would not be staring any kind of lion in the eyes. In fact, it would instinctively race off into the bushes and do exactly the opposite of what Stef told you all to do. This beautiful, beautiful antelope is known as a kudu, and that is the joy of these live drives, is even when we're searching for something else, and if you cast your mind back to the start of the drive or the safari this morning, I said that I was hot on the tracks of some lions. But the joys of being out here on safari is that you have a chance to actually see all kinds of things. If you have just joined us, my name is Jamie, and we're coming to you live from a place called Djuma Private Game Reserve, which is right up in the top northeastern corner of South Africa. And there's all kinds of extraordinary creatures, things like those beautiful kudu, and they're just about to disappear, so let's have a look at them before they do. I always think that kudu look a little bit as though somebody has dripped white paint along their back, and the dribbles have run down the sides of them. A truly very elegant, very beautiful antelope, sort of the supermodels of the antelope world. As I said, we are hot on the fresh tracks of these lions. We will be taking a short break very shortly, but don't go anywhere. There'll be more leopard cubs playing. Perhaps Stef will find those buffalo, and maybe, just maybe, we will find our lions. We'll see you soon. And for those of you watching on the internet, of course, you don't have to go anywhere, but you do have to excuse me for 1 second, because it seems as though Taylor's been trying to call me on the Game Drive channel. So hold on one moment. Let's try and get hold of her. She's been helping me track down these lions, along with James from Djuma. Taylor? Copy, thanks T-Dog. I'm just on Gallagher's shortcut now, popping out at the junction. Okay, so Taylor's giving me the update that the ground is very, very hard at the moment. So it is difficult to see the tracks. It looks as though they're weaving in and out of Buffelshoek. So there's lots of them moving about now. I've just got an update from James in the tent. Apparently there are impala alarm calling on quarantine. Could that be the Queen of Djuma looking for breakfast for her 2 rambunctious cubs? We're going to race across in that direction. I just want to check this junction up ahead, and then we're going to race down that side and see what those impala are upset about. Let's have a quick look here. This is one of the best junctions for seeing tracks. Okay, James is giving suggestions as to where these impala are alarm calling. So if you are perhaps new to these live safaris and wondering what we mean, antelope have very, very good eyesight, and when they see a threat or a predator, they warn each other by alarm calling. So what we're going to do is we're going to race across in the direction of those alarm calls, see if we can figure out what's upset them. While we do that, let's go back to an animal that definitely would have upset them, those leopards with Brent.
There we go, we're with the playful cubs still. They're up and down and around. There's young Hosana. They are moving from where we first found them, heading slowly. Oh, there goes Xongile up the tree. If not, why not? And down again. This is just the most incredible time at this age to spend with leopards. Oh, quickly. They're going to do the jump stalk. Right, let's just get forward a bit. These two definitely look like they're in for mischief today. Now there is a business of dwarf mongoose that live in this area, so they better watch out with these two prowling about. And of course we've seen them catch squirrels before. Now I wonder if those alarm calls Jamie is following up on around a tree house could be Karula. I mean around Gallagher Pan could be Karula. If Mom's hunting out towards home. Hold on, people. Well, very exciting. These young leopards we found earlier on the move. I don't know if they might have heard their mom calling, but this is where it gets really exciting because they chase everything. They chase tortoises, they chase birds. And remember, this is live from South Africa in the middle of the African bush. We're in an 8.5 million acre wilderness area called the Greater Kruger National Park. And we're going to be coming live every Sunday for the next 7 weeks from now. And we're excited to take you on your own privately guided safaris. So let's keep up with these leopards. As you can see, I'm actually driving off the road, and often that's the only way to keep up with these incredible creatures out here. So there's one of our little tracks, but we're just going to go whoop, straight over it. And remember, I was telling you earlier this morning, or earlier on the safari, that there's lots of different sounds that give away the presence of a predator. Now we can hear all those little birds, tweet, 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 tweet. Basically they're going, leopard, 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 careful, careful, leopard, there's a leopard, careful, watch out, oh my goodness, leopard, leopard. So they're all alarm calling. Good morning or good evening to you, Yana. Yana would like to know if I've ever seen a male lion kill leopard cubs. And it is one of those really difficult things to watch. But I have seen it a couple of times. And never very young cubs, but about cubs this age that are still sort of finding their feet. So they get a little bit too blasé or brave from time to time. And I have seen a male lion. I've also seen lioness kill leopard cubs, but strangely enough, what you wouldn't believe is that the biggest killer of leopard cubs out in the African bush, so of the known mortalities of the leopard cubs we know are killed, 70% of those are killed by other leopards. So male leopards that are sort of generally between the age of 2.5 and about 5, so they become dispersal males, so they're pushed out of their natal home range, and now they're wandering around looking for their own territory. They will almost always kill any other leopard cubs that they come upon. Now, there's a couple of different reasons for that. There she is. I can't see where he's disappeared to. There's quite a steep bank here. Oh, he's terrorizing foam nest frogs. What are you doing? Leave the poor little frogs alone. Yana, I haven't forgotten about that, but just look at this. So that white foam that you can see there is a foam nest frog nest. So what happens is they create that foam and they lay their eggs inside, and then the tadpoles hatch and drop into the water below. But I don't think they're used to being terrorized by leopards. Normally they're terrorized by birds and things like that, but isn't that absolutely incredible? Now he's disappeared down. Isn't this unbelievable? Live from the African bush with exquisite little leopards. Oh, she's playing with whatever that is. And that's the lovely thing about leopards at this age. They are so inquisitive. They're always on the move, looking for stuff to play with, and especially on a lovely cool morning like this. I'm just going to move the car again for a better view. Now, as I was saying, Yana, leopards kill 70% of... Oh no, they're up and about again. Let's get Brian in the right spot. Look at this now, we're right above these leopards. Let me just... Oh, sorry, my... caught on a stick. There we go. Now, what are they going to get up to next? But they might stop for a little drink. Or they could just decide that this is a good place to rest up for a while. Now, oh, he's coming right towards us. And I've actually had this little male go under my car while he's been playing with his sister. Well, it looks like he's going to stare at his reflection in the pond and ponder life. So while we sit here to see what these incredible cats get up to next, James has got a surprise for you back at the tent.
Right, indeed, a surprise. My name is James Hendry, in case you were wondering who on earth I am talking to you like this. And I must just tell you, we are as live as everyone else. Hashtag Safari Live. You can send your questions and comments about anything that you're seeing out here. It would be lovely to hear from you. And just remember, this is the first of 8 live safaris from the middle of the African wild. Once every Sunday night, we'll be coming to you. Now, let us take to the air. Now, that is the view being got by Drone Commander Connor Teagues, and he is looking down on a little pan of water, but next to that pan of water is my very best friend in the world. You can see a little sort of black blob, and this is Ronald the rover. There he is. He's moving about a bit, and he's hoping that Duncan the drone, there is Duncan right there looking at him, and they are going to have a bit of a meeting in front of you. And the reason for this is just to show you some of the ways that we're interacting with the wilderness here. Ronald gives us a sort of mongoose eye view of the world, if you like, and we've had some incredible interactions with baboons, with lions, with buffalo and elephants even. Look at that, isn't that isn't that a great view? You can see Duncan there hovering rather menacingly over Ronald, who I think looks rather more gentle. There we go. And we'll just give a little waggle. There, come on, there we are. You can see there Ronald saying hello to his new friend Duncan. There we go. And there goes Duncan flying off to see what else he can see. So the drone, of course, gives us a wonderful view of the wilderness from above, and then the rover gives us another way of interacting with the bush. And we're finding constantly new ways of interacting with the wilderness out here and bringing it to you in new and fresh ways. And I just think that is very, very special indeed. Now, the other thing that I found you, as a result of the rain, of course, things like this come out. That is a dung beetle. Now, many of you will have heard of dung beetles. And you may have noticed that next to some of that dung that Stef was showing you, there were little piles of sand. I don't know if you remember that, but next to each pile of sand, or under each pile of sand, you will find one of these quite phenomenal creatures. Now, without them, this place would be covered in a rather stinky mass of animal dung. And I just want to quickly see if I can show you how it is that they find the dung that they look for. If I put the microscope on him, there you can see a whole lot of little mites. You see that? Those little mites help this astonishing creature to find dung. Without them, it would never find dung. It would sort of lurk around, wander in the wilderness, completely lost. I think that is just wonderful, don't you? Right, let's head straight back across to Xongile, Hosana, and the feral Brent Leo Smith.
Well, look at this. They are jumping up and down and playing all around the edge of this little water hole. Keeping themselves amused. Wow, look at that. This is absolutely incredible. The most elusive of the big cats in the African bush, and we get to spend so much time with them. This is what being on safari is all about, and I'm so excited to have all of you with me live, wherever you might be sitting in America, sitting on your couch, and you joining me on the world's biggest game drive vehicle. Well, let's see what Trouble 1 and Trouble 2 are up to. Oh, Trouble 2 is back below us here. Right below us. He's going... Oh, he looks like he nearly looks like he was almost about to fall into the water. What are you up to, monster? Now remember, if you've got any questions about these incredible cats, hashtag Safari Live. Oh, look, he's attacking the frogs, the poor frog eggs. It looks like he's eating the foam. I've been in the bush since I was 4 years old. I've been guiding professionally for 15 years. I've never seen this before. Never ever have I seen a little leopard eating foam nest frogs. Nests. Now, there obviously are frog eggs in there. I don't think he's really eating it, rather playing with it. Oh, is he going to fall into the water? Now, that would be a really funny sight. And as I keep going on, that's the best thing about leopards of this age. They're just so full of beans. They're so curious. Hopping around, playing, jumping, attacking each other, attacking poor frog nests. This is just too wonderful. I know it's terrible, but I did secretly hope he was going to fall into the water there. Now, you could see how incredibly agile these animals are, and they're able to... What are you doing? You don't like water. Now, This is the most wonderful thing. Now, I have seen him try fish turtles, or what we call terrapins, out of water before. But I just think he was just testing to see how cold it was. He's got a stick. That's his new toy. So all this little behavior, this jumping up and down, this carrying things, picking up sticks, is all really important as he gets older, to develop all the skills he's going to need once he leaves his mom. So, there's an ambush in wait. Oh, let's see she's hiding. He can't see her. Hello, Carrie. Carrie would like to know, how old does a leopard cub have to be before it starts hunting? And Carrie, well, they will start chasing and catching grasshoppers and moths and things like that from as young as 3 or 4 months. But they probably make their first mammalian kill between 4 and 6 months. It's normally something small like a squirrel or sometimes a bird. And their first sort of big kill in terms of a small antelope or something like that. I mean, as far as I know, I've heard from one of the other guides that this young male has already done that. He killed a little duiker antelope. Now, you never see leopards putting their feet in water. They generally try to avoid it at all costs, and not him. I think he's after little turtles and terrapins. Now, his sister is busy stalking him from the thicket. Now, she could bound through that thicket onto him at any second. Oh, he's just jumped up onto a log, making it a little bit more difficult for his sister to attack him. Maybe he saw her coming. Here she comes. She might be changing her ambush position. So again, they probably only carry... Sorry, I got distracted by what the leopards were up to. They're only going to make their first sort of really big kill, like an impala antelope, when they're over a year old, maybe even 14 months, that era. Now, it isn't impossible that they can make it at this age or younger, but it is just a really big feat if they do succeed in doing that. Now, this is very strange. There's not much cloud above us, but there's one cloud that is raining on us, but very, very lightly. I mean, you might just hear the pitter-patter. I mean, you can see there's blue sky and there's just one cloud above us that has decided to drop a little bit of moisture on us. But isn't this absolutely incredible? I can't tell you how wonderful this is. As I said, this is why we get up at 3:30 in the morning, to spend time with these incredible animals. And as I said, so amazing that this is live and we get to spend it with you. Remember, if you want to ask questions like Carrie, #SafariLive on Twitter. Okay, now these leopards are moving through a thicket. I'm going to move the car a little bit while we do that. Let's go have a look at an 8-legged creature.
We've just heard the most exciting report that an animal that we've been looking for all morning has come wandering along past the dam. But before we go into that, for those of you that have just joined us, my name is Jamie and you are on a live safari here from the middle of the African bush. We've spent the whole morning tracking lions. Apparently he's just walked past the dam and is continuing along in that direction. But the joy of these live safaris is that you find all kinds of unexpected things on your search. And we've got something happening here, and I have absolutely no idea what it is. It is a burrowing scorpion that has started to dig itself down into the hole that it lives in during the day, but there's something else on there, and I'm going to jump off quickly to try and have a look and see exactly what it is that's going on here, because this is not just the scorpion. I don't want to scare it away, but I do want to try and get an idea of what is on it. There are tiny baby scorpions on the back of this massive scorpion that's in this hole. This is amazing. They are much, much bigger than we usually see when they're on the back of the scorpions. But scorpions, for 8-legged creatures, unlike spiders, they're actually relatively good mothers. And they'll keep their offspring on their backs in order to keep them safe for their first few days and their first few weeks of life. This is absolutely amazing. Tiny, tiny little ones, all on the back of this scorpion. That is such a cool find. Right, let's race back to the car. We don't have much time to lose because this lion is very much on the move. It's quite cool and cloudy this morning, which means that all of the big cats, you've been seeing those leopard cubs playing around with Brent, means that all of the big cats are on the move, including the lion we're searching for. So we're going to go racing off in search of him. And in the meantime, let's go and have a closer look at what scorpions look like under a microscope.
Right, as Jamie says, we're going to have a closer look just now. My name is James Henry. Just now is a South Africanism that will mean nothing to you. I'll tell you a little bit about that later. What I mean is, in the next little while, we're going to have a look at a scorpion. But let's rather quickly have a look at where we are in the world first. We're in the northeast corner of South Africa, the western fringes of the Great Kruger National Park, and on a reserve, very special reserve called Djuma Private Game Reserve. And that's where we are most privileged to call ourselves at home. Isn't it wonderful that we live out here? Now, let's have a look at the microscope. This is exactly the same species of scorpion that Jamie was looking at, and that, everybody, is its sting. Now, they're not particularly venomous, these things. It'll feel probably a little bit like a bee sting if it was to get hold of you. But I'll pull it out for you, and you can have a better look at it. There we are. You can see there we've got the pincers, and the pincers are big. I mean, comparatively speaking, compared with the tail, they're large, and that means that it's most likely killing its prey using these pincers rather than the venom in the tail. So the venom in the tail is more sort of deterrent than it is for killing prey. And you could see how protectively that other one had wrapped her tail over her little babies. Isn't that nice? This is called a dwarf, not a dwarf burrowing scorpion, just a burrowing scorpion. And I'm not picking it up because this one I caught some time back. Well, I didn't catch it. It was dead already. And it is now so dead that it smells like the bowels of hell. It is truly disgusting, and as I get over this particular kind of arachnid, Stef has got another invertebrate to show you. Let's go and have a look.
I definitely have got some here, James. Thank you. This is a centipede, and one of these things that are sort of terror-inducing out here. I remember as a young child, my father had one of these crawling in his hair at night time, and I still remember quite vividly the story as my dad woke the entire house up with his bellowing, trying to get one of these guys out of his hair, and then looking at it for weeks afterwards. Of course, he managed to kill it in the melee. I'm not going to kill this one. I quite like centipedes. But what is quite noticeable are their poison claws. Have a look at the poison claws right there. That's that black tipped leg. It's actually a modified leg that has venom in it, and that's how the centipede catches its prey. Now, I am told there's a little bit of pixelation coming from us, which is that rainbow colors across your screen over there. We are coming to you live and on foot in the middle of the Kruger Park. And of course, now's a fantastic time for me to welcome everybody who's joining the bushwalk for the first time on this sunrise safari. I am Stef. And yes, you heard me, we are on foot in the middle of the Kruger National Park, the world famous Kruger National Park, and one of the largest wilderness areas left in the world. And we have been on the tracks of the buffalo herd for most of the morning, and we managed to bump into this centipede. Now, the centipede is foraging a little bit later than usual. Normally they are in bed and tucked up by the time we come out on safari. They are nocturnal, and they enjoy foraging for almost anything that they can catch and kill, to be honest, from mice all the way through to insects. Now, Tajina, you just asked me how bad would a bite from the centipede be? In some parts of the world, the bites from these centipedes could kill you. In this particular part, I don't want to be bitten by one of these guys, mainly because I'm quite allergic to bee stings. And I think that being allergic to one insect venom out here is probably a good chance that I'm going to be interested to another insect venom as well. So I wouldn't personally like to be bitten by one of these guys. They are venomous. They will have a reaction to you. It is an incredibly painful bite, not only because the poison claws are fairly large, but also because they do contain venom. Look at those antennae. These are what the centipede senses its environment with. They are highly specialized chemical receptors, and they are able to taste the environment around them and generate a picture, much like your eyes do and your nose does around us, around our world. So that's how the centipede sees its world. Now I'm going to put him back on the stick on this branch over here, because it also allows me the opportunity to show you what's happened to this buffalo herd that we've been tracking.